Hi, I'm Bruce Ford with Clear Science, and I would like to do a quick demo of a product we have begun work on as a part of our TERAS system, which TERAS means Targeted Environmental Risk Assessment Suite. And this particular tool is designed to look at tropical cyclone history in the in the United States relative to a location. So the idea is to look at what storm activity happened throughout history and details about that storm activity for a specific location as identified by a storm's closest point of approach. Let me explain. Let me enter an address. Our entries here is I've entered the location as street address, city, state, zip code. Start year indicates what year I want to start looking for storms that are within the radius, which is we are looking for storms that came within 100 miles of this location from 1970 to current time. Let's take a look. So the center of this radius circle that we see, which is 100 miles, is our location of interest. This happens to be Clear Science location in Keystone Heights, our headquarters. So as you can see, the various storms are indicated. A black open circle is a tropical depression, an open hurricane symbol is a tropical storm, and a closed symbol with a number indicated indicates the hurricane and category that it was. So in 2016 there was a category 3. Let's click on that for a little more information. So here we can see information about Hurricane Matthew in 2016 as a category 3, that the point indicated is the closest point of approach to Clear Science headquarters. The wind speed at the time, the actual CPA distance was 79.29 miles. And then we have wind radius information, which we will eventually be plotting on the browser screen, which, as you can see, your entire browser screen is a map. So we can look at additional information here. If I want to look at within this radius circle a list of all the storms and some information, we can get that list here, and its peak intensity throughout the history of the storm, what its intensity was at its CPA, the wind speed, sustained winds, and the name, unnamed in the case of tropical depressions. So I can look at that list. Let's go back to this storm and look at some more information. For instance, here is the wind intensity time series. And in this case, we can see that the location CPA was at the end of the life of this, or toward the end of the life of this storm, and that blue line indicates that the CPA, where the CPA location fit within the wind intensity time series. So I can close out of that. If I would like to see the entire track, I can display the entire track, and we can take a look at what this storm did. It started in the southern Caribbean here and crossed and came up and raked the coast. Now you can see these lines are color coded. It was not warned on until it was a tropical storm in this case, so we have an orange to yellow line, and red indicates when it was of some hurricane strength, and then it died off into tropical storm and the warnings ceased. So let's zoom back in and take a look at a different storm. Here's a storm in 1984 that came very close to our location of interest, only 2.46 miles, and it was 45 knots of sustained winds when it came close by. And look at its wind intensity. This storm was its CPA about halfway through the overall life of that storm, as we can see there. Again, we can show the track of this storm and take a look. And so we can see that storm also approached from east to west and came across the peninsula and out to sea. And here you can see the green areas of this particular track when the warnings fell to tropical depression intensity. So one item we can do for all storms as an initial capability is we can show all storm tracks. And here we have the spaghetti of all those tracks. And so we can have a sense of direction of approach. As we can see clearly, I get more approaches from the west at this location than we do from the east and south. So southwest direction is more activity in Keystone Heights, Florida. Let's look at another location, this time on the Gulf Coast. This time I'm going to change the scenario a little bit. So this is a location in Mobile, Alabama, and I'm going to look at storms from 2000 to 2020 or current time, and the radius is 50 miles. In this case, we can see a number of hurricanes, all Category 2 in this case, a host of tropical depressions, and some tropical storms scattered around as well. Let's take a look at this 2004 Category 2. This is Hurricane Ivan in 2004, Category 2. There's a location of its closest point of approach to our subject location at 90 knots sustained, and it came a mere 9.14 miles from the location. And here is the various wind radii information, as we can see. So let's take a look at the wind intensities. As you can see, it was a much stronger storm prior to approaching the coast in Mobile, and then died off as it came inland. So let's take a look at this track and zoom out a bit. So this storm formed out in the central Atlantic, not far from the main development region, and came and slammed into Mobile, and then looped around and actually conducted 1, 2, and actually 3 landfalls in this case. So quite an interesting storm there. So this gives you an idea. Let's turn on all storm tracks. As we can see, most storms approach from the south in this case, and the southeast, and it gives us a sense for tropical cyclone risk for this particular location, with a count of storms and a look at intensities when they reached this location, and gives a good sense for risk in this landfall location based on history. So we consider this a fledgling capability that has a lot of promise. We want to add more detailed information, such as wind radii for a given track, so that we can show the wind envelopes as a particular storm made an approach, or storms in general make their approach, in this case from the south mostly. We want to do things like have the ability to display the top 10% of storms in intensity, if the user so requests. So the request system can grow more enhanced, and the display system could grow more enhanced. And of course, additional components of the suite will give a prediction based on a probabilistic prediction based on the climate situation, which is not taken into account in this current iteration, this demo. This is purely a historical view. There is a lot of exciting developments to come yet in the TERAS system and this particular tropical cyclone suite of products. So please stay tuned for that, and we will keep you posted.